Hello Internet, welcome back to our Typing of the Dead series. Once again, really want to stress that this series is less about playing the game and more about dialing in my audio settings before I carry on with my actual, important series. So, there's last episode I noticed a lot of my plosives were being picked up by the mic. It was like air in the microphone. Just working on that, working on learning to denoise the fan in the background, trying to figure things out. So please just bear with me as we continue. I gotta imagine that not a lot of people are gonna watch this series anyway. It's a typing game from quite a while ago, so whatever. We're gonna continue on the harder difficulty, and it looks like we're gonna be going to the carnival. They're hitting all of the classic zombie kind of cliches. We got the haunted mansion full of zombies. We've got the strip club. We've got, what was this one? This one was hospital. Oh, we got a C on it. We got an S on the first game. I guess because we upped the difficulty, we're struggling a little bit more. But anyway, we're going to the carnival. Let's jump into it here. Get my keyboard in an appropriate position. Yeah, I'm experimenting with mic positioning, amplification, trying to dial in the proper volume. I'm actually really struggling with the volume because if I get the mic closer to my face, it picks up a lot more of those mouth sounds, but I'm louder, which is what I need. If I don't do that, if I keep the mic far away like it is now, may I eat you. Oh, that's very loud. I need to turn this down, and we'll go back here. And if I move the mic where it's in a comfortable spot that's pretty far away, then it doesn't really pick up my voice, but of course I get less of the mouth sounds and things. Man, that guy attacked very quickly. Beelzebub. Abracadabra. See, that doesn't feel fair because that's not a real word. That's a magic nonsense word. The word choice in this game, I mean, I've complained about it a little bit. I do think some of it is fair and some of it is obviously an attempt at tripping you up. But I guess that's something that you do. I complained about the typing test. Face the music and dance. Man, these long sentences as well. It only hurts for a moment. That's a lie. Capitalism rules, also a lie. Borrowed time. Capitalism makes fools of us all. Internet, don't believe in the lies. Civilian rescued. Get out of here, vendor. You're welcome. Be gone. Grip hard. Pitiable sight. Fractured clavicle. All these words I never use. Oh, and there's a head over there. I didn't even notice. So there we got a new 3D model. Beaten eggs. Always beat your eggs first. It makes them fluffier. Put a little bit of milk in with your eggs when you're scrambling your eggs before you pour them in the pan. Go ahead and whip them with a fork in or beat them, I guess would be the word, in a bowl before you dump them in the pan. It will be better in the end with that little bit of extra milk. Makes them a little bit fluffier. I remember being I guess I would have been 18 or so, with my high school girlfriend, my first real, very serious girlfriend. Stayed the night at their house, as I often did. We dated for many years, and I was with her younger sister as well, and I was making them breakfast, and I really pride myself on making eggs very well because, which sounds dumb, but if you don't know, eggs are the most commonly incorrectly cooked food in the diner and restaurant industry. It's actually very easy to overcook eggs, undercook eggs, things like that. And so I pride myself, I make really good poached eggs, but she wanted scrambled eggs. So for this little, she was probably 10 at the time, I'm making her scrambled eggs, and I did what I always do. I cracked them into a bowl, put a little splash of milk in there, and began to beat them with a fork, and she actually yelled at me and was like, "You're doing it wrong. You're supposed to just dump them in the pan." I was like, well, this makes them fluffier. And she's like, I don't want them fluffier. I want them the way I always have them. And she was very unhappy that I was trying to prepare her like an actual proper, enjoyable bit of eggs, which to me is like, you got to do that. You can't just, what do you crack your egg right in the pan like a savage? I don't think so. course, she was a 10-year-old, like, tomboy and was a little bit of an aggressive individual. What? Oh, convict, I guess. He's wearing the jumper. The jumpsuit pants. Oh, in fact, it is a full jumpsuit. He actually has it tied around his waist. That's cool. And he has a barcode tattoo. Grab the mallet. Now mallet him. This is a weird, like, QTE. I feel like all of this was unnecessary. You should have just let me type a word. I don't enjoy the cinematic type stuff. Perspective vortex. Interesting. Kangaroo surprise, goat curry, and savory snacks. I really like curry, and I never get the opportunity to eat it because there's really no Indian places around here, and that's like the only place that you would normally get it. Kind of in this area, you would go to an actual Indian place to get curry. Oh good, I get to do 2 more of those cinematic fugitive zombies. Cool shades, bruh. I typed bruh and it screwed me up because it was bro. Accordion, QJ, sensitive mangrove. Mangrove is a tree, right? Or is it a grove of some sort? Actually don't know. Weak powers, old man. I do enjoy these games, which I know is silly because they're like not very good, even from the like rail shooter perspective. Like if I had a light gun, I don't know how enjoyable this game would be. Like even with all the accoutrement, with all the proper enjoyable aspects of the game, I still don't know if I would like them very much. Doubtful. Debutante. There's a word you don't hear every day either. Teenage poetry, that's a little bit more common. Got to give them that. I wrote poetry when I was a teenager. I wasn't particularly into it. No, help the ginger. What are you doing? Save that woman. I do love redheads. Juggernaut. Save the woman. We didn't even get an opportunity to save that lady. That's not great. She's just dead. We're just going to move on. The game's not even going to, you know, it's not going to even reference that we just abandoned a lady to be eaten. Pretty messed up. Beating heart, fall to pieces. Yeah, I wrote poetry when I was a teenager. Everybody did when they were a teenager. I was a dark, brooding young man, and I found out that girls really liked when guys write poetry, so I did it a lot. I remember sitting in pretty much every class that I didn't like, and I would write anime. I remember poetry, and I remember writing poetry about anime, like because I didn't have a lot of actual things in my life to write about. I didn't have a very active life or lifestyle, so I would just write about like situations you see in TV or in movies or whatever. So like obviously my own life was pretty boring, but I could write about like an action, like a situation I saw in a James Bond movie or in an anime, you know, like monsters and stuff, and would write a poem about it, which is in hindsight, as I'm talking about it, sounds pretty cringy, to be honest. What's going on with the sound of this? The sound keeps disappearing. Good thing that they brought the sound back in time for me to hear him swear a bunch. Grammar Nazi. Oh good, another... Yeah, and this is the issue with cinematic moments like this, is that they rapidly become repetitive. Like, you know, you play... Let's say Resident Evil 4, right? And you, oh geez, there's another mallet. What are the odds? Oh, thank goodness. We did the exact same thing we did literally 3 minutes ago. So like you play, you know, like Resident Evil 4, and you see your first El Gigante, you know, the big troll guy, and you fight him, and you're like, oh man, this is super awesome, like whatever. Oh, it's so cool to have such a big enemy, and I've never dealt with this before, etc. Knock, knock. And then you get later in the game and there's another one, and you're like, okay, well, I've already done this. I don't really want to do this again. See, we saved that lady. Why didn't we save the redhead? It's like, okay, you know, we just did this. Why do I have to do this again? Oh, no. Gee, fairway. Kill that guy first. Digging in the wrong place. Citation needed. Or, you know, when you're running down the hill, no, MV, growling, stomach, I killed the wrong one, WC, your mom is a mutant, Return of the Mutant. And like you run down the hill and you have that QTE because the boulder is rolling down and whatever, and it's like, oh, you know, this is actually cool. And then you do it like 3 more times in that game where there's another boulder rolling down a hill. And it's like, how many opportunities do these people have to roll a boulder down on Leon, you know? And it gets so old. The best back rubs. Don't scratch your nose when you're playing a typing game. Internet. Just letting you know, I thought I had to sneeze. Please cover your face when you sneeze. Obviously, finer things in life. I'm Spartacus too. See, Spartacus is not a word I type on a regular basis either. What do you hate more than mutants? Mutant carnies. Well, that's somethingist. Shouldn't do that. They're just because they're carny people doesn't mean they don't have value. When I was a kid, I didn't know what a gypsy was. You know, like the Romany. I didn't know what they were. I had never really heard that term. And someone, when I was a kid, had told me, balalaika, really? You're giving me Russian music words now? Is not yet lost. Man, I hope balalaika... I hope that's from Russia and I didn't just offend a bunch of people. Is it balalaika? I forget now. I'm already forgotten. I know in American Dad one time, Death Row Name, they played a balalaika as a trio. Say cheese fried. I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh yes, when I was a kid I thought that a carny was a gypsy. Someone had told me that gypsies were people who run carnivals. So when I was a kid, and I would watch like The Simpsons, you know, there was that famous Simpsons episode where like the carnies move in to their house. I think it was voiced by Jim Varney, you know, classic guy, very distinct voice. You know, well-known figure in movies and stuff, especially if you were a kid back then. And the carnies move in, and I remember saying that they were gypsies, and people got upset with me because that was like offensive to imply that gypsies run carnivals or something. Like, it was innocent, right? Because I was a kid. I didn't know what I was talking about. It's like you pick things up when you're a kid that you think are funny or whatever, but you don't actually know. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. So like when I was a kid, I had a birthday. And I remember the house we lived in. I think I was living there in 1st grade. So pretty young, you know. I don't know how old you are in 1st grade. Probably, I think my niece is in kindergarten and she is 6 or 7. So I'm guessing 1st grade is like 8. And someone gave me a birthday card. 3 is a crowd. I like their skeleton jumpers that seem to glow in the dark. Someone gave me a card for my birthday, and I had seen on The Simpsons, Bart Simpson, when he gets a card, he would open the envelope and shake the card out to see if there was money in it, and then he would throw the card because he didn't care about the card. So I'm like, you know, 8 years old, and I do this, and you got to remember I lived in a abusive household. So like I did this, and like shook out the card and threw it because there was no money in it, and my family, specifically my stepfather, reacted so vicious and violently, which is not appropriate when you're dealing with a child to be, you know, violent towards a child. But I didn't understand that that's like a really disrespectful thing, because you're basically telling someone, I don't value something you gave me, I only care about the money that would have been inside. So like when you're a kid, you pick things up in conversation on television and you think things like for me, I thought that was just a funny thing that you do. I didn't think like, oh, someone put work into getting me a card and cared about me enough to give me something. I just thought, well, Bart Simpson did it and everybody laughed, so I should do that too because I want everyone to laugh. It's one of those things you get as a kid where you don't actually have context for a lot of the things that you learn. You just do them because you saw them or heard them elsewhere, and you assume that everything is true. Like also from The Simpsons, I remember there's at one point, I can't remember the episode, but they're walking down the street along the road, and Chief Wiggum stops the kids and says, you know, what are you kids doing? You're supposed to walk with traffic. And he's like, oh, was it with traffic or against traffic? No, with traffic. You walk with traffic. Which is not correct. You're supposed to walk against traffic. That way they can see you better, as opposed to like they're coming right at you, is how I was taught anyway, I think is the rule. I guess I don't really know what the proper rule is. I think you're supposed to walk down the oncoming side of a road if you're going to walk down the side of the road. And I remember learning that and thinking like, oh, well, the Simpsons wouldn't lie to me, so obviously I'm supposed to walk with traffic. And then I had someone correct me later and be like, no, never ever walk with traffic. You know, if you go out trick-or-treating or whatever, walk against traffic. I think is correct. I might be mixing those up, but you get what I'm saying. Is like you pick something up, you hear something on television in a movie, or you read something, or another kid tells you something, and you take it as absolute fact. And yeah, that's where I got the gypsy thing from. And it's like I don't hold any ill will against gypsies or the Romany or whatever you know, whatever name they go by. And it's just I remember getting kind of chewed out because I thought they were carnival folk. Okay, so again, we're getting very repetitive. We've played through about 15 minutes of the game, and now we've gotten to a boss fight, which opens with an intro and lots of profanity and completely unnecessary. So it looks like a large man. He bit the head. No, he did not bite the head off. He just chomped the face. So we got Master Blaster here. Put your hands in the air. Master Blaster. Yeah. I haven't watched Mad Max in a long time. Okay. So it's a biggin with a smaller conjoined twin of some sort. Nigel and Sebastian. This is the second pair monster we've fought so far. The strip club also had two independent. Well, I guess these are one creature. There's a large man. I mean, joke's on you. He's larger than the actual stands, so you got to figure he's about 15 feet tall, probably 18 feet. He's actually about twice the size of the stands, so you might say, we'll call it 15, 16 feet. Blues singer. Pretty straightforward so far. Clutch your... Why are you holding him by the face? Collect your prize. Oops. Mistypes crystal ball. I don't own a crystal ball. I think that they're silly. I know some people like them. I had a friend who collected them. I thought that was real dumb. Frankly, I don't think that they're very cool at all. Frankie, Giggles, Dozy. These are like the 7 dwarf names. Dozy. That can't be hygienic. I mean, he's eating zombies. He's clearly a zombie who's eating zombies. Chico and Gizmo, the cutest of all the Mogwai. Generous greeting. Nothing is happening. Why is it slow-mo? Why is he... I was going to say, I succeeded. I don't know why it's all slow. Conjoined guy seems to be keeping his mouth open. Is that why he's holding his face? To keep his mouth closed? You'll see his mouth is open anytime he's not holding him. That's interesting. I don't think it means anything, but... Trappist Punk. So this is a very easy boss fight thus far. Here and Now. That's a perk from the Fallout series that gives you an extra level at the time of taking the perk, which I would not recommend you ever take. Bearded Lady. I remember going to a carnival when I was a kid, and they had like the quote-unquote freak show, which I think is a derogatory term that we don't use anymore. Ernie F. Sadsack. And yeah, they had like a freak show, and I went in expecting to see, like, again, I don't think we're supposed to use the word freak show. It implies that they're freaks. Obviously, they're just people. They don't need to be disparaged in any way. But like, I went to one, and I was probably like, again, probably around 9 years old. Slow-mo's completely unnecessary. And I went in and expected to see like really cool, like weird human body type stuff. And it was like a joke. So like I went in and they were like, come see the Spider Girl. And I distinctly remember this. It was the Spider Girl. And I was like so excited because I was like, oh, it's going to be a lady with like extra arms and stuff. And I went in, and like they had it set up so you had to look through a slat in the door. It wasn't actually like going, up to the person. And you look through the slat in the door, and it was literally just a person's head in a spider costume. So it was like a lady's face, and then around her face was like a plushy, stuffed animal style spider body with 8 legs. And I was so like disappointed, because when you would see those kind of shows in cartoons and movies and stuff, they always had these really cool, kind of really odd human body stuff, extra limbs and stuff like that. And I was super excited to see that when I was like 9, and I didn't, didn't pan out. So let us check the unlocked models here, because we definitely unlocked a model. Daddy, can I be a mutant? No, son, you may not. So they're mutants, they're not zombies. Kind of undercuts the fact that it's called House of the Dead, right? They're clearly supposed to be. I don't think we got any comic books. I think we got 3D models. We'll take a quick flip through here. Again, I want to stress at this point that we have our mic set up a certain way. I'm hoping the volume is okay. I've been denoising to try and remove the fan from the background, which leads to very mild distortion in the audio. I'm hoping to dial that in so that is not an issue in the future. Okay, we clearly didn't get any comic books. Show me the models. Probably got like the boss model. It seems like we keep unlocking boss models and really nothing else. So we'll flip through here, see what we get. Where's that stripper lady? There she is. Candy Striper. Oh, that's cute, I guess. I've already seen these models. We unlocked at least one. Oh, it was a weapon model. I mean, that's real dumb. No one cares about your weapon models. So I don't think we got anything cool out of that. That's a little disappointing. Man, there's so many levels left. We've only done 4. There's like 5 more. And I don't really know what this one is. It looks like industrial. Oh, meat is murder. Probably a butcher shop. What happens when I click? It plays. Yeah, I don't want to play. I was just clicking to see. I thought maybe there'd be an intro video. Back me out. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't care. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this episode here. So for now, thank you for watching. I can't exit. Thank you for watching. I will be back with more House of the Dead, typing of the Dead in the near future. So thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me while I'm dialing in the old microphone, and I will see you in the next episode.